This video was recorded live on twitch.tv/rockstar74. If you like startups, come on by. Do you prefer Peter or Peter?
Peter or Peter?
I said Peter, Pete or, but that didn't.
Pete. Oh yeah, dude. No, it's funny because in Dutch, yeah, exactly. In English too, like people, like my friends would say Pete maybe, but that's, I don't know. My mom told my dad. My dad called me Peter, and then my mom said we're not gonna call him Peter because then his friend's gonna say Pete, and Pete she felt was like kind of like a cheap name, so she wanted like Peter. So I guess Peter works, yeah, but.
Gotcha. I can actually relate to that. When I was a kid, so I go by Dan most of the time.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, if anyone called me Danny, my mom would scream at them and say, "That's not his name," and just knock it down. Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, cool. Hello, everybody. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Yeah, so we should explain. So I think it was a few weeks ago, I was on CM Griffin's stream, like just chatting.
The person who told me about your shout out is Rockstar. Let me make sure I spell it right. He's a huge fan, actually. He had to come and let me know that you even did it. So yeah, I just want to point out, if you ever do want to just give him a little like hello in his stream, you'd really make his day.
And I think he said like, Dan is a fan of you, and I was like, whatever. And then I went into your stream, and then you had like a breakdown because I said hi in the chat, and I was like, wow, this guy is some fan or something. And and then he started crying, and apparently he cries a lot, but it was really funny. And I clipped a few of them, but it was really funny. And yeah, and then we talked, and then I asked, do you want me to be in your show or something? So maybe it's fun. I don't know if you have people in your show. Maybe this is the first time, but
yeah, no, very, very rarely. I've had other streamers on. Sometimes we'll do like combination things. Normally I keep it primarily educational. But honestly, not too long ago, I did actually ask around and see, would people be interested in hearing from other startup people, other hackers, if you will?
Yeah.
Pretty much got a resounding yes. So this is something I've been planning on doing for a while and never really got around to. So when you asked, I was like, oh man, this is perfect. And of course, my community is now very familiar with you, as I have sung your praises so many times on this stream and will continue to do so.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It's really cool. Your community seems cool. Cool audience. Yeah. Cool people.
Yeah. It's truly an amazing thing. Never would have expected that live coding on Twitch would have been such an amazingly wholesome, exciting thing.
Yeah, dude, but that's what you were saying, like in that stream, was like you moved to, was it Seattle or Detroit?
Yeah, I moved to Seattle for about a month.
Seattle, yeah. And you were like alone in Seattle, you didn't have friends, I think, and then it was really difficult to ground there, and especially with Corona, because you cannot go outside and stuff. And then the thing that got you through was Twitch, because you had all these people, you started streaming and you started getting all these friends on Twitch and people watching you. You were like, wow, this is like really helping you, like socialize kind of in the Corona times, right?
Yeah. It's been unreal. And I think that's kind of the wonderful thing is people say, once you get to a certain scale, you can't be so close with everybody, right? Like the community itself becomes you become almost a TV show, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, dude, some Twitter is like that kind of. It's very difficult.
Yeah. I saw your Twitter, and at one point when you were like, oh, just tag me to ask about the AMA, I was like, I wonder how many tags he gets a day. And I just started scrolling, and I was like, oh, there's no way he'll ever see this.
Well, it's kind of good and bad, because like you naturally grow, right? I mean, that's an interesting question. But then you get all the weird shit from having a lot of followers, or like being mini internet famous in like a niche. Like it's nice, but then you get all the weird stuff. You get like stalkers, you get weird messages, you get a lot of haters, you get also, but you always remember the haters. You remember the negative more, of course.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of the good stuff too, but you don't even see it because you get good stuff. So it's just like you see the 5% like people really hating you, and everybody gets that when you get to a certain level. You have the same, bro. Maybe you already have one hater. In a year you have like 100, but that's part of it. And then. So it's really good and bad. It's exactly like everything in life. It's kind of like has pros and cons. But like you cannot keep your DM open because the messages you get is too weird. You get like you cannot share your location too much because you might get weird shit IRL. So at this stage it gets really weird. So I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I'll just tweet a little bit less because I don't need it to grow much bigger. I just relax a little bit and But the coolest thing is that you can meet you can meet all these people on the internet that are cool, that do similar stuff as you, and they can help you, teach you stuff. For example, like when I was coding, Twitch people on chat would teach me stuff. Like they would tell me what to do, give me tips on the graphic design and stuff, like border radius and add a box shadow, all this stuff. So yeah.
When I was coming back into JavaScript after a while, coming back into Node, I mean, my first project, I was so out of my own environment. All I knew was the language, and I was like, I need to build an email scraper somehow. I don't really know how, but we're gonna kind of figure it out. And so people gave suggestions, gave insight, gave all of these concepts, and then like even lines of code. It's crazy the stuff that people in this community make. A lot of
it's
are
so much faster than us. Because or I don't know you, but when I'm coding and I make so many mistakes, and then they see it immediately. Like the moment I type, they're like, "Oh, dude, you forgot the trailing bracket or some shit." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah." So it kind of saves time actually to code live.
Totally, yeah. No, I think the thing is, it's always, the more generic rule of the people who are less in the moment, the people who are more outside watchers will always be able to see the details better.
It's like the duck. What do you call it? Like
rubber ducking. Yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much, that's 100% it. Dude, I do it myself. Like when I have a problem, well, I'll do rubber ducking, but I'll also like give myself advice as a friend, in any matter. I will speak up loud. I think it was in Hacker News this week too. You speak up loudly to yourself, like when you have a problem, and then you give yourself advice as if you were a friend. And it's kind of interesting because you get out of your brain and you give completely good advice that maybe you wouldn't have solved your problem if it was only in your mind,
Totally. That was a lot of how I got started on Twitch. Was I was struggling to like even stay productive. And so I told myself, well, if I had to say out loud everything I was doing, maybe I'd be more productive. And so I came to Twitch and there was nobody watching me, right? But I was just saying everything out loud anyway. Right. I was just saying like, okay, we're gonna have to do this. Let's look over here. Let's go here. What's next? Yeah. And I had to ask myself the question, which meant I had to answer it. And that ended up leading me down a really good path. And then got very lucky and ended up here. But
that's so good, man.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, I have so much respect because I've done it too. I did it last year, the 2020 during Corona. I also streamed a little bit more, and I've been streaming on and off, like not like amount of you did, but like since 2016, I think.
Right.
And the amount of stress, people have no idea how intense it is. You put the stream on, and people can see your whole screen, and they can see what you're doing. They can see what you're coding, and then when you code normally without stream, you code a little bit. Like I code a little bit, and then I go talk to somebody. I walk around and I lie down. Dude, lying down is really important. It's like, what the fuck? And then you come back, right?
Yeah.
You go shower or whatever. You go outside, walk the dog or something. You can't do that on stream. You sit there. And because if you cancel the stream, you lose all the viewers. So you need to keep going for like 4 hours at least, I guess. That's usually how long I would stream. And then, dude, I click the stop streaming button in OBS. And dude, it's like, and my head is like, dude, I thought it was the lamps, but my head is like flushing, after a stream. It's like so intense. Like this call is like 0.1 intense. But like streaming like full 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Part of, at least I've tried to tell myself, part of doing a good job is not freaking out all the time.
Yeah.
But I've had to like accept a lot of things. Like I've had to accept not being perfect. Everybody always says like accept good enough. So I try really hard for good enough content. Especially because, unfortunately, my streams aren't always going to be that interesting because startups aren't always that interesting, right?
Dude, same. Most of my stuff I do is really boring.
Right.
It's like moving a CSS red circle on a colon after thing. I don't know. That's what I'm making now, a red bubble. So, yeah.
Yeah. It sometimes it can feel like, if you're like stuck on something like that for like 40 minutes, while normally you would be annoyed, now you're anxious, right? Now you're worried.
Yeah, but you see the viewer. Well, I had the viewer widget thing, or I would check it, and you see the viewers dropping when it's not like. Like in the beginning, when you make a new project or a new feature on the stream, everybody's watching, like 75 people watching, whatever, and then once you get to the boring parts, they do drop off. So it's just true. So yeah, people like to see quick, fast development, but I mean, we are already fast compared to most people, and even we're boring. So, right?
Yeah, I think the thing that gave me the most anxiety in the world was I was watching like, how to like run a good stream, like, tips for streaming, all of these kinds of things, right? And somebody said audio is the most important. Never, like if you have 10 seconds of dead air, you will start losing viewers. And that gave me so much anxiety because I was like, you know what? I think you're right. And I hate that you are.
Brutal.
It's brutal. Yeah. Oh,
It's super, and it gets awkward. I was playing a YouTube video. It was something about like the history of remote work or something. I was like, guys, you need to see this video. It's about like the Intel CEO in 1981 talking about remote work and we're all going to live everywhere. I was like, let's watch it on the stream. And but then you're sitting there and you're watching a video, and I know Twitchers do that, so it's fine. But it's just awkward when you don't. You just sit there. You're just like, yeah, it's a good video, huh? Yeah,
yeah.
It's just like silence. It's like, oh, so cringe. It's just cringe alert,
Yeah. Oh God. Feeling like you're cringe is the worst.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like just sitting in the moment and being like, I am actively producing cringe.
Yes,
This is my nightmare.
And it's like there's 50 people watching you making cringe content, and yeah, it's it's funny, man.
At some point, you just gotta embrace it. I think that's
No, but I mean, cringe is part of life. Like
Yeah.
PewDiePie had this video years ago about all the cringe moments, cringe series, and it's like, yeah, it's part of life. It's just cringe is good. Cringe is authentic, I guess. But this is cringe.
yeah, no, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, honestly, everything is, right? Like if you can't get past those like small moments, you'll never get around it. And I think the cool part is like at some point, and this is an interesting take I've heard, is to some extent you are the content more than the content is the content. And so what's interesting is, you say like, okay, obviously you play a YouTube video, you're not doing that much. It feels like a lot of drop off, and it is. But what's even more interesting to me is that a lot of people actually still stay, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people actually
And I
still
think that
do
core
watch.
part is more important to appease to in the long term, because that core part of like 20 people can become like 2,000 people later on who actually care about you and your stream. And if you keep trying to maintain this like 100 people, it's going to be, and you're like trying to keep their focus, then you might be developing the wrong audience.
Yeah.
Right. It's like trying to appease to the masses. Never really works, right? You need to, it's better to have less viewers than
Yeah. It's like what a lot of people talk about with, the difference of top of funnel, bottom of funnel, right? Are you just acquiring people or are you keeping them?
Yeah, exactly.
And you care much more about getting one person in the bottom of the funnel than you do about getting 100 at the top. Because if 100 people come in and watch this stream, and then 0 of them come back tomorrow, then this was great for today, but it hasn't changed my channel at all, right? But if I do something very solid, if we keep this very engaging, if I look at chat and I'm very careful with each of these things, if I get 10 people in, but 5 of them stay, that's huge, right? Because even when I'm at the scale of 20, 30 people, if I got one new consistent viewer every day, I'd be huge by the end of the year. I think the stats go, if you have 100 consistent viewers on Twitch, you're already in the top 1% by far.
I think that the biggest red flag I have of streamers when they stream, they do the multi-stream. They stream to YouTube Live and Twitch and Periscope. And I'm like, dude, you don't understand it. All these platforms are completely different. They have completely different people. And Twitch especially is very unique with their memes and their like culture and stuff and stickers. You can't just multi-stream that. It's not gonna fly, man. Like, and I think Periscope just shut down. So yeah.
Yeah. It's actually really interesting because there's a trade-off, right? It's a question of so when it comes to content, there's like parallels to marketing and then there aren't. But with content, the idea is like if there are some people on YouTube who will never come to Twitch, right? And if I never put out anything on YouTube, I've missed all of those viewers forever, right? Without a doubt. Now, if I only stream on Twitch, I'll only get Twitch viewers, but I can do a lot more there. I can build a stronger community. But you still want to have people coming in from all sides. So how do you even that out? Some people recommend just like putting out content.
Clips, right? You can take clips from your streams, put them on YouTube, because that's kind of what YouTube is good at. I think that works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the start of it.
But dude, it's kind of annoying. There's all these platforms, right? Like you kind of just want to have your own site with your own RTMP stream, or
Yeah.
whatever it's called, and like, uh, yeah, then you have to build all that stuff again. It's just annoying. Like, I mean, I make a platform too, like for Nomad, so I do the same thing. But like, philosophically, platforms are really annoying. The fact that you're tied to a company that they can do whatever they want. Like I'm tied to Twitter. I have a lot of audience on Twitter. I cannot move Twitter to Instagram. I cannot move these people. I cannot move them to YouTube easily. I need to literally ask them like, hey, go subscribe to my YouTube, whatever. So it's like, it's kind of annoying. I think they're trying to push a law now in America, so you can, like transfer your social graph to different platforms or something. That's kind of nice, but yeah.
Yeah, it gets very confusing. And I've heard that's simultaneously the pro and con a lot of the time. Is, like take your story, take Product Hunt, right? On one hand, a lot of your growth early on was tied to that,
Yeah, 100%.
which is really good in that it gave you that opportunity, and really bad in that it might have enforced that you have a very specific subset of people who
Yeah.
might have had very specific needs that might not be representative, right? And so like
Yeah.
people who use Twitch a lot might have different needs than the generic viewer.
Oh, dude, it's completely different. On Twitch that's why it's kind of fun to be on Twitch. Also, it's completely different people. It's like, and you realize you're only known in a sub niche. Like you're known on Twitch. I'm known on the start of Twitter a little bit, but it's like only in there, and there's millions of these niches. So everybody's kind of famous in some niche somewhere. It's super weird, and yeah,